Good morning, everyone. This is a video introducing the WindsurferTracker for event admins. So it's an administrative guide. And so if you're just a sailor who's going to be sailing in a competition using or a race using the tracker, you don't really need to know this. But you're welcome to follow along if you're curious about how it works underneath. All right, so to get into the admin interface, there's two admin interfaces actually. Strictly speaking, there's three. There's the live view admin interface that I'm going to show you first. Then there's the track review admin interface where you can do things like split up tracks and things like that. And then there is the event management interface where you can create new events and set the password and set the information about the event, etc. But I'm going to start with the main one, which is the live tracking admin interface. So this is what you would have on, for example, a laptop back at the sailing club if you're the race officer or one of the organizers, and you might say, be in the sailing club, have a laptop, have a marine radio with you, and be talking to somebody on the support boats. Or you might have, for example, an iPad or other tablet, Android tablet, out on one of the support boats and using the admin interface there. So either way, you get the same interface. It works either on mobile devices or tablets or on laptops or desktop computers. Okay, so how to get into the admin interface? Well, you've got this little admin button down here. And when you first press it for the very first time for a particular event, and I'm connected to the New Zealand Inter-Dominion 2026 event at the moment, noting that there are other events. We've currently got 3 events. If you'd like to create a new event for your particular area, or an event for, I don't know, South Australia or New South Wales or Sydney or your particular club, just ask me and I can create a new event for you. But we're just going to be showing admin of the Inter-Dominion event. So I click on the admin button. Now, if you've never done admin for that event before, it will ask you for the admin password. Now, because it's remembered it on this computer, I don't need to type it in because it remembers the password for convenience. So you will need to ask me for what the admin password is if you're the admin for an event. All right, so it brings up a whole bunch of admin controls when you've typed in your admin password. You can do things like show hidden trackers. There's currently one tracker that's hidden, so you can hide individual trackers. If there's a tracker that's gone rogue, there's something wrong with it, somebody's putting up spurious data, whatever, you can mark them as hidden just to get rid of them off your screen. And I'll show you how to do that in a minute. You can clear today's tracks, right? So that's useful. Say, for example, you want to start a new log so that you have a completely separate log per race. You can go clear today's tracks, it clears it all. Or you might be demonstrating the tracker before the start of the race in the briefing, and you don't want all of that rubbish in your log. You can just go clear today's tracks and it all clears. So if I do that now, I'll show you clear today tracks, so clear that, it's asking, do you really want to clear the old tracks? Old tracks will be available by the review page, so you don't lose the data. It's still there. It just shows up as another log in the review page for that day. So I'm going to clear it, and what you'll see is that these trackers that were live are still there, but if we went to the track review page, the data before this point in time would be cleared. It's now a new log when you select the log. So if we go and have a look at track review, you'll see that I've cleared the log 6 times, right, today. So you can sort of see all of the different logs that we've had. All right, back to the live tracking again and back into admin. These options here, all idle, all start, and all shut down. That's when you set up an event. An event can be a casual, people just sailing ad hoc, going for a sail on their local, sailing location, like I sail on the lake here in Canberra, in which case these don't do you any good at all. These are for when you're doing like a regatta, like the New Zealand Inter-Dominion, and when you set up an event like that, you mark it as being an event where sailors that are where the sailors hand over control of the tracking to the administrator. So that's controlled in the event management page. It's a flag that I can set on an event management page to say that this particular event, the control is by the admins. In that case, the admins can tell all of the trackers to go into idle mode. In other words, stop actual tracking. They'll turn off the GPS. All they'll do is do every 15 seconds a heartbeat to the server, which uses very little battery. And that heartbeat will let you know that, yes, the tracker's alive. You don't know where it is. That's deliberate. We don't want to know when people go off to the change rooms or whatever between races. So you'll generally want to idle all the trackers between races. And then when a minute or two before the race start, you would then press the all start button and everyone's phone will go beep, 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 beep. They'll all beep to say that they're starting. It'll be a beep, beep like that to say that they're starting. And that will start them all tracking and you'll see them all go into this mode where they're actually tracking here. All right. If I turn on my phone tracking, which of course will show up as being in Canberra, Australia, but you'll get the idea. If I started tracking here now, then so there's Andrew T, right? And if I click there, that'll launch me to my home in Canberra. And if I click the administrator, could mark all going to stop, right, using that admin interface, all going to idle, or they can on an individual one say stop. That puts it into idle mode if this event is set up for administrative control. So if I go like that, then you'll notice that Andrew T is now idle, right, which means that the GPS is turned off. If I went for a walk around the block now, you couldn't tell where I'm going. But every 15 seconds, it will send a little heartbeat to the server so that you can tell in critical things, for example, the battery level, which means you know in advance of the next race, do they all have enough battery to do the next race, or is one of them going to be in trouble? You can also tell if it's on charge. If I take this one and actually plug it into a USB charger like that, then in a few seconds' time, it refreshes every 15 seconds. So in those 13 seconds ago and 1 second ago, it should show shortly as being, yeah, it wanted me to know about USB debugging, so it didn't show up then, but it should show up in a second as being on charge. There you go. And it's not, yeah, it's not showing. I'll work out later why it's not showing it's on charge. It should be showing on, I think I know why, but it doesn't matter. It should show whether it's on charge or not, which is useful for knowing if somebody's plugged it in, to actually start charging it. All right, so that's really about it. You know at least their battery level, whether they're idle, that they're giving position. Next important thing for the admins in this case is the little edit button, right, which allows you to change some of the details of this sailor. So you can edit their, like that, change the name that it displays as. It doesn't change the name that they've entered on their device. It doesn't change it in their settings. It just changes how it displays on the server. So if I go save that, that's now Andrew T XXX. And don't change those all the time. Set them up at the start of the day. If you start changing them throughout the day, they turn up in the track review as different sailors. So if I look at the track review now, I'll see a little bit of a tracking from Andrew T and then track XXX. I can see now it's now showing that it's on charge. So it has finally fixed that up and showing that it is currently charging. All right. So that's the little yellow lightning bolt shows it's on charge. Okay. Other things you can do, you can change the role of that tracker. That's important if you've got a tracker that's being used by a support boat. You can make it a support boat, for example. And it then shows up in the support boats section of the tracker rather than in the sailors section. We can also mark somebody as being a spectator. So they're not a support boat. They're not uh, a, a sailor, they're a spectator, and spectators can join in. They show up as a pair of binoculars on the map, so you can sort of see, who the spectators are. I added that in there because I thought some of the people who are going along, the partners maybe going along and watching the race from the shore in New Zealand, might like to actually put themselves on there. And the main advantage is it means that the sailors can see where their family is if they want to wave to them. So they want to find them afterwards or whatever. I don't know whether anyone will actually use that ability or not. So so I'll put them back to being a sailor again. Now this is the additional information you can show. So my sail is green and it's got sail number 151. So I've marked it as green 151. And that's useful because it means the administrator can easily see in this little display here. If they're wanting to find the person with a pair of binoculars, it can be useful to know the sail color and what their sail number is, just to confirm that they're looking at the right sailor and say, hey, they look all right, they're waving, they're all happy, right? You may not be able to recognize them from a distance easily, but you might recognize the sail. All right, what else can you do as an administrator? You can hide a sailor. So there's a little hidden button and save. And so now it's hidden. So Andrew T is no longer showing up at all on the map. That's if there's one that's being problematic. It's been left on the shore, but it's left on or whatever reason, you just want to get rid of it. If you're wondering why a sailor isn't showing up when they should, then as an admin, you can, if you go into the admin menu again, you can show hidden trackers. So I'll show 2 hidden trackers, and there's 2 that are hidden at the moment. There's Andrew TXXX and Testo1 was hidden as well, right? So I'll unhide that one. What I'm going to do is mark that not hidden again, right? And Andrew T, I'm going to mark as not being hidden now, and they come back again. So it's worth checking in this interface about whether somebody is hidden or not. You can also save the course. So if we go and look at these test sailors over here in New Zealand, you see you've got the course here. You can go and export the course to a file. So this course1.json has been exported. You can also import a course you've saved later, so you can have some prepared courses. And now, of course, I've got to show you how to create a course. And so what I'm going to do is demonstrate creating a course on this one, and then I'm going to restore the course that we had earlier that David had done because I just exported it. So what I'm going to do is need to re-trigger the admin interface, and then what I'm going to do is say draw course. And it says that we need to tap the map for start and then the marks and then finish. So I'm going to say that we're starting, let's say we want to start a bit further up on the parade for some reason. And then I'm going to say that we go out here first and then go up the bay and then up to here. We're doing a little bit wider this time. And we're going up the bay here. You can click and drag. We're going to go, for no particularly good reason, to the west of this little island. And then we're going to go up here. And then we're going to go in. And then we do a long press. We're going to land. And let's say for some silly reason, we want to land on Little Onero Beach. A long press here. And the course is now saved. All right, so now we've got this course, and you can now, as the administrator, go in and move and edit. So I didn't quite click in the right spot for the finish mark. I can click move and move that right onto the beach like that. This one here, I was not quite happy. I wanted it to be closer to the point there, so I can move it. This one here, I'm going to decide that we want to do a bit of a tour around the side here, so we're going to move it. All right, we can go and edit a mark, right? We can click and change its color. We want to make it a port mark, and we want to put a comment, sharks, exclamation mark. All right, for no particular, obviously they're not likely to be sharks, but notice it's now red and it says sharks. Similarly, we can go and edit this one and we can change it to be, for example, a blue mark for no particularly good reason, and it'll show up as blue on the track. Okay, now, for example, say you wanted to split. So you've got these two, Mark 9 and Mark 10, and you didn't want to redraw the whole course, but you want to have people a bit of a detour over here. Maybe there'd been some whales over there and we want to go and sail past them. Not that we probably should. We can go and say split. So you click on the second mark and it'll split it. It'll create a new mark halfway in between. We can move that one down here. So now we have this split mark. So we can go down here and we can edit it. Maybe whales. Like that, and you can sort of see how that's done it in the track. Obviously, some more useful comments here, keep to port, keep to starboard, or whatever. Although the color is the main thing, so you should do, red and green for starboard marks and port marks. All right, what else can you do? You can delete one. We've decided that it's a bad idea to go chasing whales. So we're going to click del and that gets rid of that mark out of the track. Okay, so that's that. I could now export that track. It exports it, as another name here. So we've now got, this new save to, my download directory. I've got that track there. I'll now restore the one that David had carefully done earlier. And so it's now back to the course that David had put in there earlier. So it's got the no wading, etc., and the starboard channel buoy, etc. All right, so that's how to create and edit a course as the administrator. You set that up before the race. You can edit it during a race if you want to, but the competitors won't be able to see the edits as easily unless you, get onto them with a megaphone. What else can you do in here? That's the main things you can do with the live admin interface. So I'll do a separate video about the admin interface for the track review. So I'll be back shortly.